here frequently, you know that the Hot Zone is a talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions.
Sweet land of liberty.
Stick on the issue, I beg you, please. Let's stick on the issue.
Fuel our politics. Politicians used to live up to their promise.
The big government is not a solution to the problem.
Let me say this. I hear somebody saying, well, the country don't get money. Look, every country in this world that God has created on this earth has money. It depends on how the leader is innovative.
Not good judgment. Okay, to be commingling, to be meandering with a man who has recently been found guilty of committing a serious crime, right? You can appreciate him all you want, but it sends the wrong message. That
you can also Joseph, let me talk.
We do not have strong drug laws on our books.
If I gave you my district, what you want to? You want my
motherfuckers will come and tell you to vote for one person. When the person get it, and they tell you say the person not good. All of them confused.
Yeah, I'm getting younger because we are empowered now. And when you empower, it comes with setting grades.
They come in with their fake smile. All acting and are so fly. They won't use you, confuse you, and mislead you. They will promise when you vote them, they frustrate you. They already say you so go. Don't for your friend, let them move. They already say you rebel. Don't for your friends for their choice. Oh. They already say you so go. Don't for your friend, let them move.
Tonight, I'm playing host. My name is Derek Yale, and let me check in with my co-host, Mr. David Takbe. Mr. Takbe, welcome to another episode.
So Derek, thank you. It's always good to be on the Hot Zone.
Brother, vote for your future. Mama, vote for your future. What thing you want to? If I gave you my future, what you want to?
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you're joining us from, let me say welcome. Welcome to the Liberia Radio and Television Network. If this is the first time joining us, the Liberia Radio and Television Network is a local media institution right here in Northeast Philadelphia. It will also have our office open in Liberia for business as well. Tonight, the LRTN, or the Liberia Radio and Television Network, is proud to present another episode of the Hot Zone. That is episode 6, and no, season 6, episode 10. I'm sorry. And by way of introduction, the Hot Zone is an opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions. And here on the Hot Zone, there's no gimmick, there's no fluff, just real talk. My name is Derek Yale. I will be playing host tonight. Very shortly, I will be introducing my panelists for this episode. But before I get into any of that, let me encourage all of you, and may ask all of you watching us to please do us a favor by sharing this program on your individual social media pages. That is on Facebook, Instagram, and we're also streaming this podcast live on YouTube as well. Just to give you a heads up on what to expect and how we usually do things here, we will bring you our current event, and then after we will introduce our panelists, and then we will introduce our topic of discussions. And then after that, we will take a couple of breaks, but the final break will be after we'll bring our panelists to give you their closing remark. Because we came on late, so we do not have much of current event. We will just talk briefly about the U.S. presidential elections that is scheduled to happen in November of this year. A few weeks ago, we saw former President Donald Trump go against Vice President Kamala Harris. Hopefully, you watched that debate. you saw how things went in that debate. So again, the elections is coming up, and as far as current events in Liberia, we have a couple of events here in the US that we would like to draw your attention to. As I put them up, let me encourage you again, if you're watching us, to please make sure you're following this network. That is the Liberia Radio and Television Network on Facebook, or LRTN for short. And also make sure you're following us on YouTube and Instagram. We also have our website open where we publish news articles and development from different sources. That is the lrtn.net. So make sure you check us out. For our current event here, we have the Union of Liberia Associations in the Americas, the 50th anniversary and inauguration coming up on the weekend of beginning September 27th. Again, that is the Unions of Liberia Associations in the Americas, or ULA for short. If you're not familiar with ULA, they are the umbrella organization of all Liberian organizations in the US, in the Americas, actually. In other development, we have a 2024 Black Tie Denim Ball by Poxa. That will be hosted by Poxa, our 2024 Black Tie Denim Ball. And that will be hosted on Springfield Country Club, 400 West Sparrow Road, Springfield, P8, as you can see on your screen. And finally, we have just one more development for you. As just bear with me as I pull this up. Actually, that's about it. But again, if you're watching us, this is episode 10 of season 6 of the Hard Zone. And before I bring on our panelists, I have to give you a disclaimer. All of the positions and opinions that will be offered on this podcast tonight is not the official position of the network, but that of the individual panelists that will be offering them. With that being said, before I can invite my panelists to this podcast, let me encourage all of you watching us to please make sure you're sharing this program on your individual social media pages, and make sure you're following us, and sit tuned, because it's going to be a very interesting discussion here tonight. So with that being said, let me invite my panelists for this episode, starting with Mr. Joel Dennis. Mr. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Yao, and thank you. Good evening to my fellow panelists. Hopefully tonight we'll have a very fruitful and good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis. Welcome back, as you said. And let me welcome Mr. Victor D. Quitty. Correct me if I'm saying your name wrong. Welcome to the Hard Zone. You're on mute. I don't know. Is it just me? Because I'm not hearing you, Mr.
Nothing. I don't hear him either.
We'll get back to you. Let's welcome you, Mr. Jai Winkin. Welcome to the show. You're on mute too, Mr. Weir.
Everybody on mute today.
So
yes, we can. I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. So welcome, Joel. Welcome by as being one Bishop. Welcome as well, guys. Jay also, like, and a new guy. We can all talk about Liberia today as being a little break. So I hope we do it as usual. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weir. And Bishop Reeves, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Like always, we're grateful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Sheriff, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity again to share this platform with some of Liberia's, funniest songs. I don't know, no daughter here, but anyway, some of Liberia's funniest songs, in the diaspora. So it's always a privilege. It's always a privilege, and I am grateful to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. J. Randy. You refuse to show us your face today. You just called me in time. Welcome to the show.
I'm just trying to make some adjustment here. I would like to make a disclaimer here. I'm not speaking here in the capacity of CDC. So whatever I say, whether in favor we are or favor somebody else, let no one classify me, label me as a seditious because of what I think is or are the right thing that I'm saying here. So again, disclaimer, in this official capacity, I'm not speaking here as a citizen. Again, my name is Jay Randy, and thank you guys so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Randy. As we wait for our other panelist, Mr. Quitty, hopefully I'm not saying it wrong. I will just introduce a topic. I actually intend to do a open panel discussion, but we've been away for maybe a week or two. So a lot of things have been happening. President Waka came back from the Africa-China Summit. So I wanted to introduce that to the panel so that we can talk briefly about that. And also just today, former President George Mane, we are released a response to Waka administration asking for his assistant to get a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. So I want to also talk about that as well. But again, I would like to leave it open, whatever it is, as I usually do, that caught your interest in the political space in Liberia, the diaspora. I will give you guys the opportunity to give me your introduction, and then I will further introduce the topics that I have here. I would like to start with you, Mr. Sheriff. I'd like to start with you today. You can talk briefly about what caught your interest this week.
All right. Thank you. Thank you again. I think there are several issues, but I'm going to narrow it down, to probably the most two important on my list here as far as the priority is concerned. One has to do with the report that was released by the United States relative to our own investment, climate in Liberia. And the second one has to do with the communication, the recent, communication that we received or that we saw on Facebook about, the government of Liberia soliciting or trying to, ask President Weah for his own input about our bid, for a non-permanent seat, the Security Council. So these are the two most important issues that we will be discussing. And I think it's important that we look at these issues because it speaks volume to where our nation is going, where we are as a people or where we're from, where we are and where we are going. And the environment that we have observed, especially, of recent within a period of 9 months, what we have experienced as people and how the world is looking at Liberia after making all of the significant progress so far. Yes, there were challenges, but to see us coming at this level as indicated by the reports that I will be discussing, I think is alarming, and we'll be discussing it in depth. So these are the two major issues that I have and that I will be looking at. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad you brought up the report because that was one of the topic I have here, and also on if you guys would like to comment on the U.S. elections as well. That's also a topic that's on here open here for discussion. Mr. Kuti, are you back to the show? The audio, we're still not getting your audio. Thank you. Mr. Bishop Reeves, let me take you next. You listen to the topic that I did introduce and also the one from Mr. Sheriff. But again, you don't have to restrict yourself to that. You can talk to us about whatever caught your interest this week or last week. Bishop Reeves.
I've been traveling. Right now, I'm in the United States, and so the United States politics has caught my attention, and that is something that I'll be looking forward to discussing as well.
Thank you very much. U.S. politics, specifically the elections. If you am I right or just politics in general? But
Yeah. Politics in general.
Politics in general. Let's hear from you, Mr. Jai Winkin Weir.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Like what I will talk about before Liberia is that I got a lot of questions from Liberia from friends because I usually post all the time. Go follow my posting about what is happening in the United States, and so people wanted to know actually as to whether people were eating a dog. So I tried to clarify that. Look, in the United States, it's different from the way these pets are just loose. I said dogs go to the hospital, people take care of them. So that is, I don't know how people go to somebody house. I say dogs and cats are even sleeping with their owners in some owners. So and that has been this it has been people explain that, including the governor of the state and the mayor, so that it's not true. So I hope to use state medium as well to restate that to people that will be listening, that it is indeed not true. No, not that I'm saying it, but the authority of that particular state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. J. Randy. Let's hear from you. You're on mute.
I said for me, I'm looking at the future. I don't think our lifetime on the planet will use anything positive for Liberia. Looking at the fact that after 177 years, we are not use anything positive. Every country that once looked up to us has become, cut away from us. So I just think current generation, whether it's Generation Y, Generation X, millennial generation, they are not going to do or use anything positive in this country. One thing that drew my attention that really gave me the courage for 2065 is the photo where I saw the former First Lady holding the hands of a little child walking towards the institution. That child fall within the range of the Alpha generation between 2013 to 2025. By then, by 2065, that generation, 2013 to 2025, they will be averaging around 50 to 52 years old. Those are the generation that I believe will take Liberia to a better place. So I will always like to focus on the future of our country. Currently, we have no structure, we have no standards. We don't operate on any guiding principles. Everything is politically driven and it's not measured. The second thing, the third thing I would like to look at here too is reducing the waste in the government. There are too many ministry and too many deputy minister, assistant minister. I think if we can look at a way to shrink those things, it will help to save money, and those money can be relocated in different areas. Without work, I'm not lying to you, Derek, it will never work. Why? Because those positions are politically influenced. And that is why I'm projecting 2065, because by then, you and I will be dead and gone, depending on your age or your health. And I think the 2013 to 2025 generation will be the generation that will legacy what J. Randy always says on his platform. Those are things I would like to talk about. And then lastly, the issue of President Weir, his letter, and Boca letter. Those are things I would like to talk about. As far as American politics go, I'm not interested in American politics because there are some of us here who tend to like the American politics, but we don't implement it. We don't teach our people back home about American politics. Two different worlds. Is to me is not being very fair to your ethics. Thank you.
Let me stay with you, Mr. Randy. If you say you're not interested in U.S. politics, is that generally, or is it because, like you said, you feel like those that are interested in it, or those of us Liberians that are interested in it, do not implement those things that we learn from U.S. politics?
Yeah. So if you look at someone like Joe Boca, all right, Mr. Boca fell ill in 2023 of January. He went to the hospital. This man has been unable to tell exactly what went with him. In this country, if that happened to Donald Trump or to Joe Biden, we will get to know. But when we who live in this country and believe in medical transparency for leadership, people tend to customize what they think protect their interests because they want to gain some recognition. So there's no way that I can make any or draw any comparison between those who have interest in the American politics than in the Liberian politics. It makes no sense to me. And for me, I believe in the American value. I believe in the American value system. I believe what I learned here should be taught to the people back home in order to improve our system, improve our processes. But people come here and talk about things. You mentioned about Eula. The history of Eula has shown that Eula has only been here to just create a ladder to step out to the big folks. And then the next thing you know, they're in government position and they don't have any history, any reference to show what they had done for any Liberian in this country. It has only been for stepping stone to get to know government officials. All right. The election that is coming right now, Liberia, is not geographically, demographically, and importance to any of the political party. But in the Somalia community, the people are targeting this community because they know what they have done. So Liberia, Liberians, these things are just things that people say around here. We must measure our performance. We must be able to set goals. We must be able to have objective. We must be able to look at our process and improve it. And we must be able to measure performance. How do we measure performance? Derek, let me just say this before I start. Since Jesus was a pope, we had deputy minister, assistant minister. What have been the performance of these guys? These guys are supposed to strengthen the institution in the country. Today, JFK ensured medical supply. Public work does not even improve anything. The Ministry of Health does not improve nothing. Children coming out of birth to the age of 5 getting into public school, no identification system. People obtaining driver's license in the country, no training, no road test, no physical exam. So what are we? What do we have all those things? So I think we need to focus more on our country than focusing on other politics. But again, this is freedom of expression. But for me, I'm only going to limit myself to the deviation we have in the country over there, because it's just going to make no sense for me to talk about the United States politics when it's not even having any impact. If I were in South Africa, Kenya, I would start to draw conclusions because those countries are making progress. Even look at Rwanda. Rwanda and Liberia went to war. They came out. But look where Rwanda is today. What's wrong with us? Those are things that I would like to look at.
Thank you very much, Mr. Randy. Let me transition over to Bishop Reeves. And guys, I encourage you guys to shorten your contribution tonight, because we have quite a few major topics that are left for us to touch on before we can wrap this up. But let's stay with U.S. election or U.S. politics. The election this year is about several issues. Top of the list is inflation, prices. Second to that is immigration. But Bishop Reeves, I want to ask you this. First of all, what is your position on some of these key issues, as for example, abortions and inflation prices, and also immigrations? And what candidate do you think is aligning to what you believe on, specifically on these issues?
Okay, so first of all, before I address that, I wanted to post a couple of videos on our LRTN platform so that it can answer some of the questions that we have. I don't, I'm trying to send it there so that those who's monitoring can post it, because I think it was last week or so when there was a debate. Now let me just clarify this. I'm a Liberian. I live in America, and I participate in everything that goes on in America. When I'm in Liberia, I participate in everything that goes on in Liberia. I believe in having a global mindset about everything, and wherever you live, you must be able to contribute to where you are. And so that is why I'm talking about American politics tonight, because I believe wherever I am, I must be a contributor to my environment, to the people where I live. Now, coming back to what I wanted to correct, I have at least 2 or 3 videos of what Mr. Weah was trying to address when there was this debate and President Trump made a statement about people eating dogs, and that whole thing went viral, and people started making different kind of videos about it. But at least I have about 2 or 3 videos posted of news agencies that talked about their cats being eaten and missing, and there are videos showing people trying to kill their animals. And I have videos where people are crying and expressing their views about what they did to them, and how they were angry at the fact that people are making jokes of it. So yes, there are videos uh, 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 about the fact that people was attacking people's cats and dogs in Springfield, Ohio. So just to bring some clarity, it's not just a joke that people are talking about. Or Donald Trump will say something and everybody eating the dog and eating the cat. Yes, there are videos that people posted, news agency posted about that. So just to add to what Mr. Weir was saying, to provide a little more information about that. And I want to post it on the LRTN page so that people can see that it is true that these things happen. It was not just a political, stump that somebody was pulling and people started going about it. Now, you were talking about the economy and all of that. Look, I'm looking forward to seeing a change and a shift in America. Uh, the issue about American politics and what's going on in this country is way deeper than what meets the eye. We see how the economy has fluctuated, during the time of President Trump, now during the time of President Biden, along with the COVID-19 and all of that. But I would really want people to go back and look at the numbers and look at what is going on in the economy the last 4 years and the last 4 years that we've been in. What has happened? You know, looking at the prices of things in the market. When I came the other day, I went to the supermarket. I realized that the prices are extremely high, and my desire is that both of those candidates should be able to address the economy and give us I want meat on the bone. I don't want somebody to just come and tell me, well, we're going to fix the economy, well, we're going to give you tax cut. Well, no, 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 no. I want somebody to give us meat. If you talk about the price is gonna go down, how are you going to drive those prices down? What I need to know how these things are going to happen, not just a candidate just tell me we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We've heard it before. We've heard it from time immemorial. They would tell us what they want us to hear when it's time for elections, and after the elections, they don't do what they said they would do.
So
You
who do
know,
you think is going to be best to address those issues that you just brought up, specifically on the on inflections and other things that you mentioned between the two candidates? Who do you think is best to
for
address?
me, I strongly believe President Trump will do that.
Thank you very much. Let's
Yeah.
hear from you, Mr. Let's hear from you, Mr. Dennis. I will come back to you on that, Bishop Reeves, but let's talk about issues Americans are voting for with inflections very high on the list and abortion, immigrations following that. Let's hear from you, Mr. Dennis.
Well, I think, look, I want to address what Bishop Reeves just talked about these videos of people eating dogs and cats. I mean, I think that, that when you hear, look, I don't know, a few years ago, I don't know how long, there's a white man, a serial killer by the name of Jeffrey Dahmer, was eating human beings. I mean, should I draw the conclusion that because Jeffrey Dahmer is eating human beings, all white men eat human beings? I mean, the president of the country shouldn't, or the former president or somebody who's trying to be president, shouldn't be so reckless in his statements to say that, oh, he heard on TV that the immigrants are eating cats. Because he's not just talking about Haitians. There is nobody, there is no white woman in rural Iowa that can tell the difference between a Haitian man or a Liberian man. When he say Haitians, he's talking about black people and all immigrants. Nobody knows the difference between somebody that can't look at Bishop Reeves and say, oh, he looks like a Liberian. They don't know that. He could be a Haitian. So it's very reckless when Donald Trump come on national television and just spout off ignorance. So no, I don't agree with these videos that you posted because it's not even something that's been authenticated. And I'm not gonna choose a president because he's using fear to gain votes. So no, I don't agree with that. And so furthermore, when we talk about the election in America, listen, I think politics is all about self-interest. And right now, when I look at my own self-interest, I look at what a president can really do, because the president can't really affect the economy. When you think about Donald Trump, real persuasion and effect on American policy has been with the Supreme Court. I don't want to give Donald Trump another chance to put 2 or 3 more, a young white conservative on that Supreme Court. He may very well take us back to slavery. So that to me is the real effect of a president in America. When you talk about the economy, for example, look, inflation, when prices goes up, there's a reason things are going up. When you want to work in America and make $150,000 a year, when somebody in China is doing the same job, making $10 a day, the Chinese, it's hard to compete with the Chinese right now. When America did that, they used slavery to make goods cheap. America don't have that option anymore where they can get cheap labor. So when you're competing with China, everything coming from China is very expensive. So, I mean, it's very cheap. When Donald Trump put tariffs on China, you think the Chinese just say, okay, we're just going to eat the cost. No, they raised the cost. That's why things are going up in this country. And it's going to continue to go up. McDonald's, when I came to America, I mean, a McDonald's employee is making $7 an hour. Today, they're making $20 an hour.
Mr.
So
Jones, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But let me ask you a question based. I don't want to get lost in the conversation. Let me ask a question based on what you said earlier. Now, you said you don't think a president should come out and spot out ignorance, and I'm not quoting you here verbatim. And
yes, verbatim, I said that. I don't think so, yes.
Okay, and you also said about the videos of Bishop Reeves posting or former President Donald Trump using his statement, they are eating cats. Now, my question with you, cats and dog, my question to you, do you think that statement was an attack on Black people or the Haitian
Absolutely.
community?
It was an attack on the immigrant community.
Let me finish with the question. Or are you saying that what he's referring to is not actually happening? In essence, are you disagreeing with the video that Bishop Reeves is posting, or in other words, you're saying that the allegations on there are false?
No.
It's one thing if you
Listen,
say
hold on. Donald Trump got on the debate stage and said verbatim, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating people's pets. Even the next day he went on and said the Haitian immigrant community are eating geese. That's what he said.
I get that.
Hold on. Okay, so I don't know. Then I'm not sure what you're asking me, because that's what he said.
I'm asking you. I want you to take a position here. Are you saying that what he's saying is not happening, or are you saying it can be an attack on the Haitian community?
Okay. Hold on, my friend. Hold on. There is no evidence, zero evidence, that an entire Haitian community in Springfield is robbing people for their pets. There is no evidence there. If he says one Haitian person was eating the dog and eating the cat, that would be a whole different story. But there's no evidence that you can go to a Haitian restaurant and they're cooking the people's dogs. The mayor came out and said that. Hold on, sir. Give me a chance. Hold on, don't interrupt. The city manager came out and said the same thing. He was fact-checked on TV. Now somebody is going to post a video. Hell, I can make a video. And say that Liberian people are eating the monkeys. Would I be lying about that? The Liberian people eat dogs. Am I lying about that? I can make that video. I'm a Liberian. Have I eaten a dog? No. But if one person eat a dog in Liberia, that doesn't say all Liberian people eat dogs. That's the point that I'm trying to make. That's it.
So you're saying though he said it, but it's only one person that eating cats and dogs.
I've never said that. To be honest with you, because we don't have any evidence that anybody's eating dogs or cats in the Haitian community. We don't have no evidence. If you have evidence, prove it. We don't have any evidence of that. But what my point was, hold on, sir. Hold on, because I know how you like to ask questions. Hold on, let me finish. It's wrong for a president just to come out and make a reckless statement on an entire community. It is wrong based on what he saw on television. It is wrong. Donald Trump was a former president. His words are very powerful. You can't just accuse an entire community like that. It's wrong. It's hateful. That's the point I'm trying to make. Period.
I want to stay with you, but I have to get the other panelist contribution. Let's come over to Mr. Jai Wigan Weir. Mr. Weir.
Thank you, Derek. I think I have to comment on two things. First, I would deal with the question of the dogs. Um, Bishop, with due respect, that is totally untrue. What Trump was driving at was Trump just wanted to prove that Kamala Harris' father was a Haitian man. Moreover, I saw other videos as well depicting Kamala Harris herself cooking barbecue with dogs. Kamala Harris herself. Okay, they have that. So does that make it true? No. So the reason why Trump is terrible for America is that true. The main reason why I don't support him is that he doesn't respect rule of law. So he lies 100%. Anything he says is a lie. Up to now, Trump has never accepted that he lost the going election. He refused to say he will accept this the ongoing election. He filed lawsuits 60 times the going election. They debunk everything. Trump is the only president in America who attacked the Capitol when he lost the election. Trump is the only president in America who never attended the inauguration of the man who defeated him. Trump has never done. People who say we are religious people, Trump cannot even quote a single verse of the Bible. Now, so for that, for the dog issue is completely debunked. Posting a video, AI can do a lot of stuff. Posting a video doesn't make it the reality. So the reason why Trump is not good is when Trump comes to power, democracy is dead. He doesn't respect rule of law.
I'm trying to understand. I will come to you, Bishop Reeves. I have to take Mr. Sheriff first, but I'm trying to understand something from you, Mr. Jai Winkin. You said Trump claimed that there are eating dogs and cat has been debunked. Are you saying that those videos, for example, the ones Bishop Reeves are sharing, or the ones that are circulating on social media, are you saying they're all doctored video or?
Okay, so what I'm saying to you, anybody can pull up video, and you know in America, dogs have right, cats have right.
I understand what you're saying.
But what I'm also saying is that I saw another video where Kamala Harris cooking dogs barbecue. It's a video.
I understand that. So are you saying that all of those videos that are showing those people eating cats and dogs, are you saying that they were doctored, or are you saying that they were not true? Is that what you're saying?
They are just not true.
They're just not true. All right. Let's see.
When you attack dog in America, you are arrested. You believe in that. You know it. If you attack somebody dog, they can arrest you. You know that.
Right.
Arrest about that.
I agree. Let's hear from you, Mr. Sheriff, and then I'll come back to you, Bishop.
So I wanted to comment about because I told you I have two things to comment on.
Okay, let me give you a minute, and then I'll come back. Hold on for a second, Mr. Sheriff. I'm sorry. Let's hear for a minute.
So the other aspect is that it is crucial for us as Liberians who are here to have interest in American politics. So the problem we have with doing the same thing in Liberia is that, like for instance, if you live here, you go to Liberia, if you tell somebody in government, if you even or get them your suggestion, they will tell you this is LRB, this is not Liberia. So that does not mean we cannot take part in the politics in America because we are Liberian. We are not in power, but the way we can support our government in Liberia is to tell them what we can do, and which I did several times personally. Make suggestions, some proposals, but they will tell you, say, this is Liberia, this is not America. So again, to bring about genuine change in Liberia, you need the willingness, political will of the government in power of the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai Winkin. I'm sorry, but let's hear from you, Mr. Sheriff.
Okay, thank you. I listening to the debate very carefully. Had a whole 5 pages that I put down just for myself, for my own, research. And for me, on a serious note, I was disappointed in the both candidate. I don't know, maybe that was just the first open debate so far, but I was disappointed. Disappointed in the sense that one, let me be very specific to former President Trump. I think President Trump needs to be more refined in the way he present his, his statement. He has noted for being very, very uncouth, very uncivilized when it comes to his presentation. Very uncivilized. This is a man who used a statement that he can grab somebody something, and and nothing will come from other. He will take gun in the middle of some kind of place. I just want to beat it some kind of way. I don't want to go straight to the point. He will take gun in the middle of some kind of populated area and shoot somebody, and nothing will come from inside. So I think that there is a need for him to refine his words. It's very important because remember, the United States, whether we believe it, whether we like it or not, there are many African nations, including Liberia, that especially in this period of election, that we copy a lot, we learn a lot. Many African nations. So I think for me, that was a minus on his part. Why it is true that I know that he was appealing to certain portion of the voting society in America here. Because when you talk about the issue of getaway, and you are referring to a particular portion of the society, like one of our speaker rightly said. Yeah, the people don't play with these things. It is serious. In fact, I had a daughter that was my captain. Let me just say right on the platform. Poppy Getaway, that was my captain. So we understand how these things are very important in this particular country. It's not just that we look at Africa. These things they are almost like human. So to present a case, like that, to want to generalize it, I think that was a slip on his part. Because take for example, there are people here who are serial killer that belong to certain race. So should we say that they particular race here for them? The people there, the year around, they killing people. Should we attribute that particular behavior of just very few people to that particular population? I don't think we should do that. And I don't think somebody of his status should even be making mention of that. But again, I understand. He tried to win some political, favor around here. This was the same old man that used this platform and referred to Africa as an S-hole country. So I think, he's slipping off very soon. He's slipping off. His diction needs to be refined. Again, when I listen to Madam Harris, there are so many things that I didn't see as one who is, a legal resident in the United States. None of these people address the reason why I am going to maybe Walmart or I'm going to the dollar store and seeing that everything have increased. What are they? What is that? Maybe I need to do more research. That's why I took down some points. Maybe I need to go on our website and read about how they are going to ensure that why it is true that the prices of these things are going up, but it must commensurate with my salary. 5 years ago, I was making, for example, $30. Nothing out there, but the prices of things are going up. So, what are the policy that will be able to help? Because look, look, we can't sugarcoat it, my people. There is no government that will come to say I will carry the price back down. It's not possible. Things will continue to go up. But what are you doing that the salary of the people will at least be able to serve as a shock absorber, that when thing prices increase or when housing increase, the payment in mortgage or whatever it is in rent, when it increase, at least my salary can be able to commensurate with it. As I speak to you now in America, people, especially down the level there, people who will say down the level, some people are doing 2-3 jobs just to sustain themselves and their family. This time now, some of our men we're working in the 1 or 2 area. You can do one job to survive. You got to do something, lay one job on this side, do the other one on this side. So I didn't hear much from them. Maybe I need to go on their website and read about, their policy and etc. But for me, I didn't read much about that. The second issue is I look at their how you call or immigration policy. I don't know. Like I said, maybe I need to go on their website and read. But nothing in that particular statement talk about, their immigration policy. How some of our people who are here, they have lived here for 10, 15, 20 years. How can they be integrated into the system? How can they? For me, I don't know. Maybe that part there, I ain't hear it. and I need to go on their website to read it. I didn't see anything of that. Their foreign policy, I didn't hear much about their foreign policy. How are you going to, the United States of America, how are you going to deal with Africa as a president? Whether it be a Kamala Harris or President Trump, what will be your policy towards Africa?
Thank you.
What are you saying towards the peace of the world? For example, look at what is happening in Israel. I saw people are playing politics on their platform. The
30
issue that is
seconds,
happening
Mr.
in Israel.
Sheriff.
Why people are dying. Why people are dying. Then you can't talk about getting we and things like that, trying to ostracize people or put them in one basket. For me, I think the both of them, in my own view, they perform very poor. They perform very poor to me. The performance, it was just, I don't know, below the belt for me. There are many things that they did not address.
Thank you. I have a question, but let me get Bishop Reeves' rebuttal to some of the things that was said, and I will come back to you, Mr. Sheriff.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited with this conversation we're having tonight because I realized, first of all, let me just clarify. During President Obama 2 terms, I was one of the major supporters, and I voted for him and everything. I ran 2 states campaigning for President Obama until after during his last term, when he made a couple of decisions that did not work well with my Christian beliefs. So, okay, so when it came to President Donald Trump, I heard his beliefs. I heard his policies, and I believed it, and I voted for him the first time. And I realized that for that 4 years that Donald Trump ran this country, I made a lot more money than ever for the years that I've lived in America. The economy, he ran it well. And people can say all they want to say. He did well for the 4 years. I've made a lot of money. There were a lot of money floating around until the pandemic hit. Now, when Joe Biden took over, all right, I realized that we've had a lot of issues, even coming out of the pandemic. There are a lot of things that President Trump did that they went back and they reversed them. Number one, when Trump started talking about the walls, building of the wall, tell me what country in this world would not want to protect her borders? And because that thing was a major issue, Trump ran on it. And even during Trump's 4 years, most of the things that Trump said he was going to do, he did them. And I like someone to tell me what they will do for me. If someone tell me, say, I will slap you, even if they are raw, I know that that person will slap me. If somebody tell me, oh, I'm for you, and in the night they take knife and cut my throat, I got to sleep with my one eye open. All right? And that is what we have on the left. I'm not going to touch them yet, but let me clarify certain things so we understand. Now, I realize that we have the media in this country that have played an important role in really tipping the scale for the belief system of people in this country. If CNN had gone and show you a documentary of what happened, some of you would have believed it. But we have credible news agencies that recorded this whole thing about the dogs and the cat. And we had other people that came on from the same Springfield and recorded. But yet you're sitting there saying, oh, anybody can do anything. But CNN can get up and do something and you say, yes, it's true. MSNBC can get up and do something, you say it's true. And I'll tell you, now the way the world is going, we don't listen to some of these new agencies because they have already picked side and they have already, if you listen to all these people who are talking over here, the only thing they're talking about is how they demonize Trump, how Trump is this, how Trump is that. Nobody is talking about Kamala, who is reckless. Nobody is talking about Kamala, her records. Let's go back to her records. Let's go back to when she was, what you might call it for California. Look at the records. Look at the kind of people that she put in jail. Look at the kind of Kamala have not even ran anything for us to say this woman is qualified. This woman can have done anything for America. Joe Biden was failing, and we know that when it's time for this election, look at what they did. They carry on a coup on Joe Biden straight away. They never had any kind of primaries for somebody else to say, let me be viable for this position. They ran, and like they do all the time, sneaky and cutting people. They went and put her there. Listen to, she doesn't even have policies. Everything that, most of it, not everything, most of what she's saying, she's going back on what she said. Number one, you talk about, let me finish. Don't cut me off, please. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
You talk about weapon, you talk about guns. I got several views of her standing up and talking about how they will even go into people's homes and check their records. If the records not correct, they will take their guns away. Then after some time, she flipped. Now, because she know that is going against her, all of her previous, her current videos now, she's telling us she's for gun. She and her VP have guns they carry. Listen, there are a lot more I can say about the difference between Kamala and President Trump. There's a lot more. All of what Kamala is promising now, the last 4 years, why haven't they done anything? She and Joe Biden, what they are promising now, why haven't they done something for the last 4 years? But yet and still, they are sitting there and now coming to tell us what they're going to do. Listen, Donald Trump has shown me for 4 years that he can run this country. When they come to his foreign policies, other countries respected Donald Trump. They were afraid of him because what Donald Trump said he would do, he would do. Oh, he's uncouth. Yeah, he doesn't speak well. Yeah, he's wrong. But when he tell me that he would do something, he did it. The other people, whatever they said they would do for black people, they've done jack. So I mean, we can go ahead and continue to talk about this, but all we want to do is to fact check everything that she said, and we'll show you video what she said and what's happening now. What Donald Trump said before and what he's saying now. Thank God that we have videos and social media. Now, we're not going to go sit down and listen to CNN because CNN will edit stuff. Somebody can, any crime going on, somebody can pick up the phone and record it and post it so that everybody can see what the real thing is.
Mr. Reeves, let me squeeze a question in real quick, and I'll come to you, Mr. Randy.
Please do.
Now you talk about the media or the left demonizing Trump for what he says and how he says it. Now, what do you think about what Mr. Sheriff made reference to? That former President Trump needs to be more refined or needs to be more civilized in how he said the things he said. Because guess what? The media you are blaming, or the fake media, as Trump would put it, the media does not feed Trump's war when he says things that are very uncomfortable for people to hear. They don't feed Trump wars when he makes fun of disabled people. They don't feed Trump war when he tries to generalize things. For example, when he said they were eating dogs and cats. Don't you think that it is Donald Trump and his team responsibility for him to know how to say things and what to say? Do you think it is people or the fake media that's responsible for the things that former President Donald Trump says?
Everybody have their approach and the way they do things. There was a topic that they were discussing. Donald Trump didn't just jump up and say they are eating dogs and eating cats. He didn't just jump up and say that. There was a question that was posed on the table that had to do with the illegal immigrants. And he was talking about some of the Haitians and people that came into Springfield, Ohio. All right. So they were talking about a particular.
Go.
But you asked me.
I asked you a question in your.
You are unfair with it something tonight.
Hey, my man, Jawiki, just be quiet. Let me finish. When you're talking, I keep quiet.
But listen, the man just
interrupt. No. Be quiet. Just be quiet.
This man just has 15 minutes to talk. No, Derek.
I'm saying
the man asked me a question.
The man gave you 15 minutes to talk. He gave you a chance to talk. Then I'll come and get off the show. What's the point of this man just spouting nonsense?
The man gave me
no point for spouting nonsense like this, man. Come on.
To ask me a question.
But Derek needs to do better. I agree. Derek needs to do better. Derek don't need to get his man a chance to keep talking because he's taking up time. No,
Then
he's taking up our time. He's taking up our time.
Every one of you
No,
took
he's taking up
time.
our time.
What are
You
you
can't be.
talking about? Because it's not in your favor that the reason why you're talking.
It has nothing to do with my favor, my brother. It has nothing to do with my favor. Because you're talking nonsense. You're talking nonsense.
You speaking
You're
nonsense.
talking nonsense. You're
Yeah, you
talking
can't
nonsense,
tell
my
me.
brother.
My man, look, be cordial. You can't tell me I'm speaking nonsense.
No, you are
I want
talking
you to be
nonsense.
cordial because all of us can go and talk about you're talking nonsense.
Yeah, you're talking nonsense. I would tell you that.
I finished, and Derek asked me a question.
And Derek is wrong for that. Derek is wrong for that.
So you want to? So y'all want to control it? So y'all want to control the show? Y'all want to control the show?
He needs to do better.
Control the show? Y'all want to control the show? Because it's not in your favor. You want to control the show?
No, it has nothing to do with that. You can't be. You can't take 1 hour to talk nonsense.
His records are there, and y'all know it. His records are there. Kamala don't have it. She doesn't have a record, and y'all know it. So you don't sit here. Anytime somebody says something, it's not against you. All of you will jump out and pull out your gun and start shooting.
You're not recognized right now, Bishop Reed. Let's follow.
You asked me a question and I was addressing it. Not we are and Dennis didn't have the right to jump in and interfere. You asked me a question.
The man got it. Listen.
You asked me a question and I was answering that question.
Derek, please rescind your question.
You're not recognized right now, Bishop.
I mean, y'all go ahead, man. Y'all go ahead. But this is politics, and we will deal with it. I don't get vexed to move on the show.
Bishop Reeves.
Yeah, let's go.
You're not recognized right now.
But you did ask me a question, didn't you?
I understand that.
And I'm supposed to answer. But because these two Democrats came out, they don't like what I'm saying. You're telling me I'm not recognized right now. No problem. I'm here.
Bishop Reeves. First of all, let's calm
I will be quiet and I will listen to y'all. Let the Democrats take over the show. Let them take over the show. Yes. Let them take over the show. Y'all, look, the real thing I want to say, I'll say it yet. We're coming there.
You're not following the rules of the show right now. You're not.
No. So those two people follow the rules of the show. The two of them follow the rules by interrupting me when you ask me a question. No problem.
I'm speaking to you directly now.
All right.
Let me take control of the show again.
Thank you.
Again, guys, let's continue to follow the rules here. I obviously do not have a timer here. I was listening to each panelist and trying to make sure that they get their point across before I go over to the next panelist. So I'm not intentionally allotting a panelist more time. If I'm doing that again, I will go right back to the timer. I will come back to you, Bishop Reeves, but I'm going to give you 30 seconds because I asked you a question that I needed you to address. And then as promised, I will go to Mr. Sheriff. After Mr. Sheriff, I will come to you, Mr. Weir, because you have a rebuttal. I understand that. And now I will put the timer on 1 minute, 30 seconds, because I do not want to be accused of anything again. So I will come back to you. And the reason I interrupted you because I feel like you wasn't addressing the question I asked you. You were addressing the example I made. I said President Trump usually makes statements that are very uncomfortable to hear. And I'm asking you, don't you think it's on the part of President Trump, former President Trump, and his team to kind of like what Prince was saying, he's need to speak in a more refined manner or be more civilized in the things he said instead of blaming the media when they pick up on those things that he said and run with it. It seems like you are blaming the media while you're not actually addressing how former President Donald Trump said the things he said and what he said. I'm asking you now, who do you think should be held responsible for that? Former President Trump or the media you're blaming?
It's President Trump. President Trump has a way that he addresses his issues. President Trump is aggressive in some of the things that he said. And so someone who is slick can come behind and take whatever President Trump is saying to make the public hear what they want them to hear. So I cannot tell you President Trump should be like Obama. He should be like anybody else. That's the kind of person he is. But one thing I'm glad about is that he is result oriented. That's all I would tell you. He is who he is.
Thank you very much. I think I mistakenly mentioned you, Mr. Sheriff. I thought it meant Mr. Randy. Don't go to Mr. Randy. So, Mr. Randy, you've been quiet for a while, so you've been listening. So let me give you the opportunity again to come to contribute. Go ahead, Mr. Randy.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I'm not really interested in the American politics, but here what I would like to say here. The conversation we are having is all about the well-being of the people of the United States, including you and myself, who had no history of being pioneer of what racial inequalities suffers in the country, even though we are the symptom of what we see today. My thing here is if we all were so concerned about what we are discussing on the platform as it relates to the American politicians and their interaction, if we had the same mindset discussing this issue in Liberia without no favoritism for a political candidate or political party, I would be very glad to participate in here. So I'll stop here for now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rennie. Now let's come to you, Mr. Jai Winkin. You've been having your pen and your finger up. You had a rebuttal, so I give you the opportunity to do so now.
So basically, thank you. I wouldn't take the time for a long time, but it is very important for those who watching this. You should know that from the time President Trump was born, he has never served anyone, not any capacity, no government job, no service of that sort. He was given money by his father. He filed for bankruptcy more than 6 times. President Trump also is the only person who is allowed to run as for president as a criminal, as a felon. Nobody ever. If you myself were here, even if we're just charged, will never be hired to serve in to work in any area. Now, with respect to the price and that people are not following up, I hope people really do their own research why prices are going up. During the COVID-19, there was a problem in terms of bringing in supplies. So those that were bringing the supply, they were carrying the prices up. Now, despite that problem being solved, those who carrying the prices up, who because of the COVID corporation, they still maintain the supply prices, even though they refuse to do the prices. So for anybody to say Donald Trump, who had Trump University, who had been criminal throughout his life, fake Trump University. So if you talk about history of service, let someone show me a service where Trump ever served in any job. No other job. No ever service to anybody, people. So it is amazing for people to close their eye blindly. Because I know some people will say because Trump passed abortion, this and that. But there is one thing people need to understand. Why it is true, Jawin Kenwea do not support gay rights, but the country, United States, the resources of the country belong to all its citizens. It can nothing to do with religion. I think this is the point we need to get clear. Because today, if you pass a law based on a religious belief, if Muslim may become president, they will impose their Muslim rules, who don't be fair. So to cut all matters short, the Constitution is also clear. Church and state are separate. So there are two different things. People are talking about religious right. They asked Trump during the debate what was his plan for healthcare. He said concept. And he tried to kill this particular current healthcare plan more than 60 times. But he has no, he said concept. Concept? So how can you call yourself sorry to say that, how can you believe, how can you call yourself believer and trust Trump, who don't believe anything, who lies about everything he says? I got problem with that. I don't have anything against Trump as a person, but his whole there is no way there is nobody who will have a child that want to be like a Trump. When Trump began, how can you talk about democracy when you talk about Trump, who want to become a dictator? Everything is doing. So there is no. You can talk about even development without democracy in America.
Thank you.
I mean, Trump is the only person who has to double anybody to put in government. Trump is the only person who breaks all the laws.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weah. We have to move on to other topics. So I would take Mr. Dennis last, and then we'll
So
take
you gave him 41 minutes, right? Okay.
actually 4 minutes and few
Uh,
seconds.
uh, okay,
But
go ahead.
I will move to Mr. Dennis, and you will be the last on this conversation. After that, we'll take a break and we'll come back. We'll talk about that letter, the letter from President Weah to former President Weah to this administration to the administration of President Jose Yuma Boakan. But let's hear from you last, and then we'll go for our first break.
I think. Look, I mean, and I'm going to say it straight. I think Bishop Reeves is a single issue voter, and based on what I'm hearing saying during Donald Trump regime, Donald Trump did one thing, which was stack the Supreme Court with his conservative people, and they overturned abortion. Seems like a one issue voter. But in terms of the economy during Donald Trump time, I mean, let's face one thing. Obama took over a terrible economy from George Bush. By the time when Obama took over, the housing market was falling. I mean, you could buy a house in Washington, D.C. for maybe $100,000 at the time. Apple stock was selling for maybe $5 a share. By the time he left office, when he took over, the Dow Jones had fallen down to 6,000. By the time he left, I believe it was at 20,000. Obama handed Donald Trump a very good economy. The American economy is $1 trillion economy, man. Nobody can come in 1 or 2 years and say, oh, they can actually take credit for those first 2 years. They can't. When Donald Trump took over, I'll admit too, I made a lot of money. And let me tell you where that money came from. It came from the pre-COVID-19 money, the PPP. You can't put trillions of dollars in the economy like that. Free. I mean, imagine Liberia today if the government had the power to just print money and put money in the Liberian economy. You know what happened? Only America can do that. Only America can just print money at will. Nobody else can do that. So that money went all that money went into the market, into the economy, and they were chasing few goods. All of a sudden, somebody who never held 100,000 before got a PPP loan just on gratis. $100,000. He go out tomorrow and buy and go buy him a $100,000 car. When yesterday he couldn't even afford to buy a donut at Dunkin' Donut. So all that free money that went into the U.S. economy at that time, that's what drove up the prices of everything that you see. So when the Fed is now using interest rates to try to pull that money back out the market, this is what you see going on. So Donald Trump can't really take credit for anything. I get what this man is saying. People made money during Donald Trump time, but think about all the free money that was going in the economy. Let me tell you what Donald Trump does. He takes credit for the stock market going up, but when it goes down, he says Joe Biden. Donald Trump company, DJT, Donald Trump Media Company, when it went public, it started trading at $78. You know where it's trading at today? $14. $14. Yet you never hear him talking about his company, his own company that he's about to bankrupt, another company that Donald Trump is about to bankrupt. Okay? Ooh. So Donald Trump is not a good person. He's not a good, when it comes to character, the man has a lot of character flaws. He's a racist, immigrant, hating person. I am not a single issue voter. Listen, Kamala, in my opinion, I'm proud that Kamala Harris is running against Donald Trump, and I wish her Godspeed. I wish she wins. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis, and thanks to all of you panelists for your contribution on this topic.
I thought you said I was going to be the last before you go for the break.
I think you guys heard me very clear that I said Mr. Dennis was going to be the last.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay. All right.
Do you have a rebuttal that can go on a 1 minute?
Okay, I can. Yeah, put me on the clock. On a 1 minute. Yeah.
Okay. I will give you 1 minute because we have to move on to other issues.
Okay. So so what I would like to say, and I'm speaking to the both guys over there, is that number one, Donald Trump inherited his money from his father. Now, if Donald Trump was not a good manager or a good businessman, everything his father gave him, today he would not have been a billionaire. Okay, he would not have maintained being a billionaire. Let's agree. Oh, Obama did 8 years and he did what he wanted to do for the economy. If Donald Trump was not a good manager or a good person, he was never going to 4 years keep the economy going for us to make a lot of money. And my brother Dennis is saying here that only PPP money he enjoy from that thing. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, bro. Listen, Donald Trump time, he managed well. The economy was well. None of you talking about Kamala. None of you talking about Kamala records. None of you talking about how risky Kamala is. Nobody is talking about what Kamala will do since she became vice president and what she will do for this country. Y'all ain't said nothing about Kamala, but Donald Trump, you're on all the time because you just hate this man. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Bishop Reeves, and thanks to all of you for your contribution.
His vice president and 40
Keep
other
quiet,
ministers.
Keep quiet. Keep quiet. We're going for break. Keep quiet. We're going for break. Keep quiet. Break.
His vice president and 40
Keep
other
quiet.
ministers.
We're going for break. Keep quiet. We're going for break.
If you're watching us, this is episode 10 of season 6 of the Hard. We will take a break at this junction, and then when we come back, we will talk about President Weah or official response to Bwaka administration on a non-permanent seat, on Liberia taking a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. But let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get into that conversation. Yeah, my production team.
They're sleepy.
Celebrating the lives of our dearly departed loved ones is no easy task. That's why you become family the minute you walk through the doors of the Exodus Funeral Chapel. Exodus Funeral Chapel is deeply committed to helping you navigate your way through this difficult time. Our services are reliable, affordable, and professional. Call us, visit our website, or feel free to stop by in person for your consultation. At the Exodus Funeral Chapel, we believe in the dignity of your loved ones. Empathy and respect is the goal of our staff. Exodus Funeral Chapel. Empathy, respect, and dignity. Welcome to your new home away from home. In the heart of Margibi County, Liberia, this privately owned guest house located at Disco Hill provides a spacious home for vacation rentals, including 3 comfortably decorated bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Here, we aim to meet the need of every one of our guests. Do you plan on hosting a meeting? Invite your team to our expansive lounging area, which is perfect for conferences. Let our attentive staff help you celebrate life's biggest moments with your loved ones in our spacious indoor and outdoor event area with chairs, tables, and all your event needs. Whether you're visiting home from abroad or right here in Liberia, we're ready to take your call. Welcome home. Call us now to book your reservation at your new home away from home.
I can see all the good God do for me, oh. Papa, your blessing to plant me and I get
Celebration, celebration, celebration. I mean celebration. Here come the biggest news you have been waiting for. The Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas, ULAA, is pleased to announce her 50th anniversary and inauguration. Our guest speaker is Honorable J. Fonanti Kofa, Speaker of the House of Representatives, 55th Legislature, Republic of Liberia, hosted by the National Administration, ULA, National Executive President of ULA, Mohammed MSG1 Keita, National Vice President, Emmanuel Nagbe, Chairman of the Board, Honorable Dao Kamara, First Vice President of the Board, Honorable James Barkley, members of the Eminent Council of Yola, member of the Founding Father of Yola, Dr. Sion Kwon J.K. Nyenswao Sr. Our chief launchers are Dr. Thomas Tue and Honorable Alfred Sier, chief launcher of ULAA. Yola, this all-important celebration will be held in Atlantic City, New Jersey. This event takes place from September 27 to September 29. Take note, September 27 to September 29, 2024. Tickets are on sale
patron tickets 200 USD and regular tickets 130 USD. Ways out in getting your tickets. Get your tickets on Cash App at 781-248-1836. Listen.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching us, this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network, presenting episode 6, episode 10 of season 6. And if this is your first time joining us, the Hall Zone is an opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political persuasions, different political institutions. And here on the Hall Zone, we have discussions in surrounding liberal politics and sometimes in the diaspora. We are transitioning now from talking about U.S. politics to Liberia, specifically on this development. Former President George Manuel Weah responding to this administration on them asking him to assist the administration to get a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. So he released a letter today that was signed by Eugene Nangwe, chief of staff. So I want to have a conversation surrounding that. So if you have read the letter, so pretty much he's saying that the government internally is not representing what they are trying to put out there. So he's saying no to assisting the administration. You guys read it, maybe your perception of it is different or what you take from it is different. But pretty much that's what I took from it. But again, let me bring the conversation over to you guys, and so we can get your take on it. If you're watching us, you can make your contribution in the comment section as you've been doing, and we'll make sure to highlight it on the show as the show goes on. I'd like to start with you, Mr. Randy, on this conversation. I know Prince did talk about it briefly when we open up. But I'd like to start with you on this topic because you show some interest in it. So if you don't mind, I would like to take you first on this, Mr. Randy.
Yeah, Derek, thank you so much for the opportunity. And now I can really get into my discussion mode now because this is where the problem is. So, yeah. So, I mean, the former president, I would say, be the imagination of his skeptics, especially his supporters, because the suggestion that I heard from some of his supporters was just a blank no. But when you serve as president that represent both sides of the aisle, you have to be very strategic in how you respond to things and how you expect things to be. So having said that, I think the president did 5 things that I can say here. 1, he acknowledged receipt of the letter. He praised the effort that Liberia had made over the years. And then he also commended and endorsed the ECOWAS nation of cheering for Liberia. But then the key part there is he mentioned a few things as it relate to good governance. And he gave some examples. Liberia is still a fragile nation. No matter the 18 years plus and ongoing we have achieved so far, we are still seeing ourselves as a fragile nation. And Mr. Weah was able to identify some of the instability that have been caused by some state security officers within the community. Whenever we have the kind of conflict, confusion, we need to ensure that the rule of law exists. Like I often tell people, the rule and law, they interact, they are like the X and Y function. If you follow the rules, the law will not come after you. If you violate the rules, the law comes after you. We are seeing those things. And it's now upon Mr. Boyka, the list of things that Mr. Weah mentioned in the speech. How can we say we want to have a seat at the United Nations when in fact we have an internal situation that is not being addressed? So in order for us to externalize what we want to achieve, let Mr. Boyka address those things. And I think that was a very smart move by Mr. Boyka, attempt to challenge his reconciliation But equally true, and in all fairness to the Liberian people, one thing I was about President Weah, former President Weah, he knows exactly what to do, but when it's in his favor, he doesn't do it. And so we are able to list down then the negative impact on the party, the invasion of community that supported him. However, when Mr. Weah was president, people identified things that he should have addressed. So I'm looking at the letter and I'm taking a reverse approach to what he identified in the letter. But as president, there were things that he could have also addressed. So I will leave it as that. The next time I come back with the chance, I will elaborate what Boca step needs to do. And I will also like to know what the House of Representatives have been up to. Because when we see these things, it is incumbent upon the House of Representatives that have been impacted, especially like the district at the city headquarters, where we saw the police going into this community. They are represented by lawmakers. Senator oversee these counties and representative oversee some of the district. What has been their stand when these things happen? Who is calling what to bring them to the house to give explanation so that the people can feel the sense of security? As I see things right now, the economic investor will always look at two things: predictability and stability. I don't see those things happening in Liberia right now. So I will leave it as that, Derek. But I thought the president did a very good job. But we also have to look at why he did that and what we can take from there. But I will say again, I'm not going in circle. And so we will be very selective in what best for him. And then he will turn a blind eyes when things are being said for the right reason, but he doesn't favor that. I rest my case for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rennie. I have a question, but let me hear from the other panelists, and then I will come back to you. Bishop Reese, what is your take on President Weah responding to foreign this administration request of him helping the administration to have a seat at the UNSC?
To be quite honest, I have not read that letter, and I'm only hearing from you and from Mr. Randy. Okay, so I can't really speak to that. I want to ask a question in turn though before. What is the benefit of Liberia having a non-permanent member seat on that council? Can anybody just help me and tell me what the benefit?
Jared, do you want me to take on that or somebody else?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much, Joel. Why it is
Bishop Reeves.
That was Mr. Bishop Reeves.
Oh, Bishop. Okay,
Bishop
my
Reeves.
bad. My apologies. I read it on to mix things up. All right, Bishop Reeves. That's a very important question, and thanks for asking the question. Again, I'm not speaking in the capacity of anyone here, but it's just a general knowledge that I try to share on this platform here. All right. So
That's
as
what
we
we're
all,
asking.
yeah, as we all know, the UN is structured in so many ways. We have nations that have, security right, like veto and other stuff. But the non-permanent resident role is like a major contributor in my own definition. It's like somebody who lobby to get things done. There are other nations that don't have that lobby rights. And let's say China want to get something done, America is 14 here. Those nations who are non-permanent resident have that right to say, okay, we'll lobby with you to get stuff done. So like we're going to have that opportunity to be able to twist arms, so to speak. And people got to twist arms, like we'll be part of those nations to twist arms and things like that. That's just a general knowledge, but a detail can be posted online. Jerry, I can share that with you. That can be used as a literature for people to learn. But just to give you guys a snapshot, that's something that Labra will, be part of, to lobby and stuff like that. But she will not have the veto power and stuff like that. But when it comes to, moving along with some important interest, she will be part of it as well. And I think this is an opportunity, Bishop, but I will stop there because I don't know what your input is, and I don't want to present that. That's why I have just in short.
Okay, so thank you for that. Then it will help me to make a statement or to contribute. if that is what the benefit is going to be, then I would say for now, I would want Liberia to concentrate on putting the country together. All right. There are many things, Mr. Randy, that you spoke about that we need to pay attention to in Liberia. And if I may, Derek, please, I'm about to make a statement or something that I've discussed with you guys before. All right. The problem with Liberia is a HO problem, and it needs to be addressed in a particular way. We are talking about generational transfer. We are talking about generations that was supposed to be in a particular place, and that generation did not get to that place, and because it didn't get there, there was another generation that was born that don't even know what the real Liberia looked like. And since then, we have not addressed bringing the mindset of Liberia to a stable place in terms of education. Okay, education will help to transform the thinking of people. And I'll be honest with you. This thing started since 1980, all the way, and then 1990 it just went downhill. Okay, and since that thing went downhill, 1990, my generation, 1990, I was 23 years old. Okay, in the University of Liberia. Okay, so between 23 and 20 and 35, I should have been one of those young men in Liberia who is holding a position or running a company or helping the government at my age at that time. Unfortunately, 1990, me and my generation were all running from the war, and everybody went into different countries. So who was left there? The people that was left there, that was born, that generation that was born during that time, did not know what the real Liberia looked like. And we didn't have leaders to really bring us back to where we're supposed to be. May I submit that in order for some of these issues of Liberia right now to be addressed or to attempt to address it, we need the full participation of Liberians in the diaspora. Okay, I am a Liberian who have been in the diaspora for many years, but I'm a Liberian who have gone back to Liberia since 2018. I've been in Liberia helping transforming the minds of young people in Liberia in my own way. Okay, and I just pray that if other Liberians in the diaspora, why am I saying Liberians in the diaspora? Because Liberians in the diaspora have been exposed to many things, and based on our exposure, we will be able to help Liberia transition. Now, make no mistake, the people who are in Liberia who were there during those times and they are now grown and they are not taking position. Of course, when we try to go back to help, there will be some, pushback. And we want you, yeah, and da da da. So yes, we know that those kind of things are on the table. But I want to appeal to the Liberians in the diaspora. It will take us to go back and run programs, do different things that will affect the government, that will affect the private sector, that will affect every area. It's not either or. It has to be a concerted efforts of Liberians to get these things done. Or else we will just kill ourselves in politics and stabbing each other, and we will not go anywhere in our country. So that would be, my conclusion that Liberia, we should take time and build ourselves up before we can start moving into Security Council and other areas. It's good. It's a good opportunity for us, but we're still bleeding. We still have issues with our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let me say to Mr. Randy, thank you for addressing Bishop Reeves' question. And I would like to come to you, Sheriff, next. But just to add on to what Mr. Randy said, uh, Liberia, I think you asked on why it's important or how does it benefit Liberia to have a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council.
Mhm.
And just looking at it broadly, like broad being of funding members, I think
Yeah.
it's important that we have a
It's
seat.
10 o'clock.
What was that?
Oh, my bad. That's my Apple reminder. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Let me put it on mute.
Derek.
I thought I was like, go ahead.
No, please come to me next because I gotta get offline soon. So please come to me next. I beg you.
That's if Mr. Sheriff will permit me to though. But again, just to summarize this, the United Nations, the way it's set up, they got permanent and non-permanent members. The non-permanent member, 10 different countries right now. Sierra Leone is on that list. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sierra Leone is not a founding member of the United Nations. There are some nations there that are not founding members. For Liberia to not be there right now, I think it's a problem. But again, let's get back to the discussion. Mr. Sheriff, I was going to come to you next, but Mr. Dennis asked me, is that okay with you? Go ahead, Mr. Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. Look, as I listen to Bishop and Mr. Randy, I I can see why, and I don't want to go back to Donald Trump, but I haven't. Let me make a fact. Let me make something clear. I haven't read any of the letters, none of the letters. But I think anything that benefits the country as a whole, nobody should hold that hostage. Anything that benefits the country as a whole. And the only reason I'm mentioning, I hate I mentioned Trump name right now because I can think of the border bill that was passed in America, and Trump killed that bill. Okay, so when I think about Liberia progressing, this will be a good step for the progress of the country. This will be a good step for the.
Mr. Dennis, let me hold you. Mr. Sheriff, can you go on mute? Because I think this is going to help your point, right? On the US, the UNSC. So President Weah is basically saying no, that he cannot help the administration to get to a place where they already should have been, given the fact that they were funding members to these organizations, the United Nations, the OAU, and Liberia is not in the seat that is supposed to make important decisions for those organizations. He was saying that he cannot assist the government in getting there because of some of the internal crisis the government is facing with. And he gave an example of what been happening with CDC and the Unity Party, police going on, CDC party headquarters, and those are things that he included in his letter. Now, do you think that is the right decision from former President Weah, or do you think he's just being, for lack of better words, or petty?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's look, right now, any kind of progress Liberia makes under Joseph Boycott's administration, CDC believes, or in my opinion, I don't know what they believe, but I know from a political perspective, that's a point that Joseph Boycott will be scoring, and it's not good for the opposition, but it's good for the country itself, and that's what I'm saying. George Weah shouldn't have no kind of he shouldn't have any kind of restrictions on something that would benefit Liberia as a whole, because you have to think about something here. We are talking about the future, not the past anymore. If it's going to benefit the country, let George Weah participate. I agree that maybe the United Nations wants to see some sort of solidarity in Liberia amongst the political parties, but I am from that school. I don't believe Liberia has a political problem. I believe we still have a lot of tribal issues. And I mean, unlike what Bishop Reeves said earlier, I don't want to take Liberia back to 1980 or 1975, because there was a huge portion of the Liberian population that didn't participate in the economy, didn't participate in politics. I don't want to make Liberia great again when there was those times. We need to just focus on the future of the country. And being a permanent member, a non-permanent member, is a good step. It's a very good step. So George Weah should not hold that process hostage. This has nothing to do with George Weah. It has nothing to do with Joseph Boycott. This is for Liberia as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me come to you, Mr. Sheriff. I think just give us your take, and do you agree with Mr. Dennis when he said he don't think George Weah should hold the country hostage by the decision that he's making as far as not supporting this administration bid to get a non-permanent seat on the UNSC. You're on mute.
All right, I'm okay now.
Yes.
Okay, so when you look at the communication of His Excellency President Dr. George Manneh Weah, he made it very clear in the third paragraph. And if I would just read just a line there, it says, the former president has supported and will always support any endeavor that seeks to advance the interests of the Liberian people and evaluate our nation's standing within the global community. It is his strong conviction that Liberians aspire for a seat on the United Nations Security Council. It is a testament to our historical commitment to peace, both home and abroad. So, President Weah has always made the sacrifices in the interest of Liberia. When you read this communication, nowhere in this communication that His Excellency is saying that he ain't got nothing to do with it. In fact, when you look at this communication, it has, for me, when I look at this communication, I try to categorize it into 4 different areas. One, he talked about the progress that over the period he made to reach us this far, that Liberia can have, or Liberia can even be mentioned as a member or a non-permanent member on the Security Council. So when you read that communication, he gave us an analysis of how this came about. That it didn't just happen because people say let it happen. That there were sacrifices he, as former president, had to make. There were things that he had to do. And he explained to the Liberian people in this communication that as far as the process is concerned, he has done about 99% of all that is needed for Liberia to have that particular seat as a non-permanent member. The second issue that he talked about in this particular communication, as I break it down in my own form, in my own manner, he talked about the prevailing political situation in Liberia, which is going to be a threat to Liberia's own, let's say, potential in getting that particular seat. When you read the communication, he made it very clear that look, in order for you to be at that particular level, to speak for Africa, to advocate for your people on that particular level, there are certain criteria that it is expected of you. And that was the criteria that we met yesterday under his regime, for which Liberia was considered. But as we relate to the current, there are things that we are seeing that is non commensurating with you being in that particular area. That if you continue on this path, he said it, that I don't think that Liberia, we've had that particular path. So, as far as the communication is concerned, he has done his part. If Liberia will have that particular opportunity to be seated on that particular Security Council as a non-permanent member, it means that the glory goes to President Weah for the work that he did, because he has already done it. If Liberia will not get it, it is because of the lackadaisical and the irresponsible attitude of this government. And he outlined it in that particular communication, that there are signs that we are seeing for which, if we are not careful, that Liberia may slip off that particular path. Like, take for an example, look at what is happening. In his communication, he talked about the level of intolerance, political intolerance, that is experienced under the regime of Joseph Numa Boeka. He talked about the way, people political rights are being restrained by this particular government, that this government have taken on another techniques of marching on political party headquarters and just doing anything, disrespecting the rule of law, the killing of Liberians without anybody accounting for it. When you look at his communication, he spelled that out. Then the last area that I try to to pin down is the way forward. Look, President Weah is one person who will do everything to ensure that Liberia is on the map. He will do everything to ensure that we as Liberians benefit from whatever we're supposed to benefit from. He has done it before and he is willing to do it today. So he provides the way forward that look, in order for us to be able to achieve this, in order for us to reach here, there are X, Y, Z we need to do. One, respect the rights of people. As a government, you must be able to respect people's political rights. Respect the right of other people to disagree with you. And by so doing, we will be good. We will have a very nice, a ceiling on this. But from all indication, from what we are seeing from the communication, President Weah will always do everything and anything to ensure that Liberia benefits in as much as it is in the interest of every Liberian. But from all indication, from what we are seeing, I think Mr. Bueka is not looking at it from that particular standpoint. He is not. He is not. Because the behavior of this government is completely contrary to the behavior that a country is supposed to exhibit in order to be seated at that particular place. You can be a criminal, roll. Let me put it in the Liberian way. You can be roll. Then he said the people must pull you in the police for you to go run behind roll. Then you are a criminal. Everybody knows that you roll. Then you say the people must pull you in the police, they must go run behind roll. Your behavior alone disqualify you. So it is the same with this government. The behavior of this government is sufficient enough to say to other African countries that look, there is a need for us to be able to review this particular decision. Because if you cannot respect the political rights of people, if you cannot respect people's views of disagreeing with you, if you cannot respect the view of people who you just move from in power, you don't even have the ability to call these people and say, look, let's sit around the table. Liberia is for all of us. If you are disrespecting these people, providing a toxic environment to the extent that there are 2 assassination attempts on the life of His Excellency President Dr. George Manneh Weah by this government. 2 assassination attempts. So with all of these, we pray for the best for Liberia and we want that seat because it comes with a lot of benefits. Especially Liberia, the oldest African republic, we can advocate for Africa and make some significant intervention based on our lobbyistic power on that particular seat so that Africa can benefit in terms of peace. Like now we're seeing what is happening around Africa, coup d'etat and all the other different grouping there. So, in order for that to be done, I think it's important that we respect the rights of people and that Mr. Bueka and his people start to act responsible.
Thank you. I'm baffled by the part where you can say, Mr. Sheriff, that you did a great job first of all breaking down the letter, but at one point in time you said, President, we really want this for Liberia, but then in the end you were saying that because of the internal crisis, most of which are related to what the administration and CDC. So President Weah will not support the administration bid to have that seat. That is the internal crisis I spelled out in the letter. Police are not respecting the rights of citizens, or police going on CDC party headquarters and doing what they did. So one may argue that President Weah, in a sense, is seeking his interest and that of his party over the country and putting his interest and that of the party over the country's interest. I will come back to you with question on that because I want to be very clear with that.
Yeah.
Where you stand. Let me get a rebuttal for a minute. I have to go to Mr. Weah. Mr. Weah, go ahead. Mr. Bishop Reeves, go ahead.
Yeah, because you see, I listened to him and he gave us a good premise, but then the last part of what he said sends confusion to my mind. I could not address all of this from the beginning, and Mr. Randy helped me, but he broke the letter down. But the last part of what he just said sent some confusion to my mind because, so is he saying he's going to support the thing so that we can get the seat because he talked about how important the seat is, or he's not going to do it? I'm confused. Is he going to do it or he's not going to do it?
So pretty much. Go ahead. I want to take Mr. Jai Winking Weah, and I will come back to you, Mr. Sheriff and Mr. Randy, so you guys can clarify this. I hope I didn't interrupt you. Let me let you finish, Mr.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if President Weah is going to do it or he's not going to do it, because all of what he said, I heard it, It was good. But to the end, he started talking about rule of law and all of that. I understand. Is he going to do it or he's not going to do it? That's all I need to know, because I don't want it sound political. It sound like there's politics we're playing here. So I don't want to read into that. I just want him to tell us, is President we are going to do it or not?
Thank you. Thank you. Let's hear from you now, Mr. Jawinkin. And I will come to you next, Mr. Randy, because I have a couple of questions. Mr. Weir, let me hear from you. You're on mute.
Okay. I listen to everybody, but my take is that I think let me talk about Brother Sherry first. It sounds confusing at the end of his clarification. That is, if it were successful that Liberia is back there, then it means that we are did it right. But when it fails, then Boga is the problem. Why the true? I don't want to be sound like I'm supporting one aspect, but the problem in my mind is the situation we have in Liberia is not because of representation or the UN or whatever. The children who sleeping at the graveyard, this problem we're talking about will not solve it. In my opinion, even though we're talking about that, I know because we Liberians, we like aligning ourselves with things to live that kind of life that do not really address the real situation in Liberia. As Brother Jay said earlier, we have fundamental issues in Liberia that require putting in place a governance structure that everybody will abide by. I listen to the bishop that people in the diaspora should help to develop Liberia. But again, that requires the government putting in place a structure. What is going on? What is happening? What do we have on hand? What it is doing? And what kind of help it needs? In that way, it will be better. So on this topic, I know we'll talk about that, but I don't see how best it's going to solve any of the major problems in Liberia, because America and the rest of the developed countries, they don't have permanent interest. They don't have permanent friends, they got interest. So if we do something better as a country, as a government, we got to watch our back. I don't know how they say that word. Watch our somebody before somebody watch your back. Whether we got representing at the UN, whether we get this, until we ourselves take the responsibility of facing our country, it will not happen. For those of us who were around, I think the bishop was like we had a war, we experienced a war, the same things that was happening. People fought the war, they say it was because of corruption, people were executed. The same method of governing is still going on. The same way people in government were behaving, the same way our lawmakers, our ministers, they are still serving as seeming God rather than servant of the people. They are not transparent. Boakai has not really clearly defined to distinguish itself from the weird government. Everything is just the same. So if we even if we get the UN Secretary Generalship, it will not change any situation in Liberia until we face the structuring problem in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's go back to Mr. Randy. You speak like you're in, correct me if I'm wrong, you're in support of President Weah decision, and that's literally described in the letter. Now you talk about this earlier, and I have this question. Now, from what you said, what Mr. Sherry said, one may argue that President Weah is kind of sort of, for the lack of better terminology, being petty. Because on one end, you're saying that it's important that the country get this seat or this non-permanent seat at the UNSC, and you're saying it will mean a lot for the country. But at the same time, you're saying that this administration because of what has happened or what is happening with the administration and CDC, because that is specified in the letter, that you don't think the country is ready to be there. And permit me, if I would, to read this or page from the letter. The former president supports Liberia's aspiration for a seat on the Security Council. He emphasizes that our internal actions must reflect the values we seek to promote globally. Now, if you think that it's so important for the country to have this seat, don't you think that the former president would be in support of the country taking that non-permanent seat? At the same time, have the administration take actions to resolve those things that he put in the letter, instead of outright just stating that he doesn't think the country is ready because of what is going on relative to the administration and CDC.
Jerry, I don't think everything you said, are you referencing what I said earlier, or are you mixing it?
What you said and what Mr. Sherry said and how I interpret it. And again, like I said, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
All right, I would like to dissect that, because Prince has said what Prince said, and let me say let me just repeat what I said.
Mm-hmm.
I said, according to the question that Bishop asked, what is the significance of Liberia being a non-permanent member?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, generally is to lobby for maybe big nations that are trying to achieve something. And just to expand on that, is the United Nations Security Council is where Liberia is trying to sit. That is, the principal function of that role is to maintain international peace and security. All right. So that is the nutshell of what Liberia is trying to seek. Non-permanent resident member mean to be part of that critical branch of the United Nations that will seek international peace and security. And that is very key to our forward movement. Listening to Brother Bishop talking about his generation. He belonged to the Generation X because they are from 65 to 80. And by the time they walk in, they were very in our range. We had the Generation Y, Z, Millennium, and I believe in the generation that is the Alpha generation. And all the generation became affected because the role that we play in destroying ourselves. Now, having said that, the issue of what Joel said, Joel, I think he kind of presented what I would describe as confirmation bias. When Joel said that, let's just forget about what President Weah is trying to seek and ensure that we support the process to get the seat done. I want you guys to take a step back and understand what is unfolding here. I just stated that the role that Liberia wants to play is about maintaining international peace and security. Now, what is the peace? Do we really have peace in a country? So when you look at President Weah content of the letter, Mr. Weah is saying, how can we go out there and want to be a representation, a symbolic image of peace, when we don't even have domestic peace in our country? So he's saying, Mr. Boyka, why do we want this position? Well, to be a symbolic representation of international peace. But how can we set up our domestic peace when we're having conflict here? Look what happened in the community. There are some people that are happy here. So what Mr. Weah is doing is, let us do our internal peace audit and see where we stand. All right? And see where we stand. If you can handle these things, then of course we can move forward. So we can go out there and want to be the police of the world by maintaining international peace. There are people with different mindset that will come on and say, for example, what we are said here. All right, Liberia, yes, you're doing international people. The last time we checked, you guys were there running, chasing down people down in your country. So what symbolic representation are you guys having? So the bottom line here is Mr. Weah has struck a very important point, even though the point is somehow political bias in the sense that he only labeled CDC and not talk about the general affected population, which I have a little gray area by him. But it's politics again. He is in the opposition. So the biggest picture will be focused on his party, which is true. But in the back end, there are other affected areas. So how can we go forward now? So whatever Mr. Weah has said, every one of us here who monitor Liberian politics, we are seeing the injustices, the instability in the country. But what had President Boka done to ease the situation, to put in place the rule, the measure, the structure? When things happen, how do we follow the rules? So until we can take care of that, this is where I come in support of President Weah. Because remember, President Weah has a history within the reservoir of the United Nations maintaining peace. This was the man who the United Nations used to bring peace among the warring factions in the country. And then Didier Drogba template after that, and we saw what is dead. And I believe that was why we had decided to initiate the seat of Liberia based on what he has done, and bringing value to the table. All right, and that's why the United Nations look at, and Boga seen it, and Boga said, I can't do this alone because this guy called Weah, he initiated the process. If I get him on board, I will get support. But then Weah said, hold on, I gave you the country through a peaceful transformation. You understand that, right? Yes. Now you are in power now. Look what's going on. And and then you want me to join you.
Now let me. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let me ask a question real quick.
Mm-hmm.
When former President Weah was used as a peace ambassador,
correct?
Wasn't there any internal conflict with the administration that was there? That was in Liberia at the time.
Yes, there was internal conflict because you recall CDC was not happy about the result of the party, right? I mean the election. They were not happy. But what we did, when Eddie reached out to him, Eddie said, look, let's get things to work together. The fact that Eddie reached out to Weah to have the conversation. The question is, since Mr. Boka won the election, has he ever sat down with Weah Cummings and said, let's have the conversation?
But he did not bring that up in his letter though. What I'm trying to get what I'm trying to get to here, that he isn't just being petty or pushing this or party line or pushing his own personal interest instead of the country's interest. From what you're saying, because you say you have like a gray area on that letter for he using the political institution.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at here. His decision, is it because he cares solely about Liberia and her image internally and globally, or is it that because of what's going on with CDC and the administration?
It is a combination of both. The indication of CDC being affected, the bigger picture there is we are a political party in this country that have the right to do whatever we decide that we need to do. Mm-hmm. So that communication where he describing CDC as being the victim is sending a broader message to the international community, including the United Nations, that if we want to sit on the seat, we need to start to do some peaceful housekeeping as well. So now it's up to President Boka now to begin to do the following thing. Mr. Boka, according to Mr. Weah, let us operate on the principle of an ideals. What Mr. Boka can do right now is to begin to promote good governance. Wherever something goes wrong, Mr. Boka needs to get in place, and that will provide structure. Number two, Mr. Boka needs to protect political freedom. All right, people can assemble, they can say things. Now, when CDC assemble, then you see people coming behind them, police coming with no justifiable reason. Mr. Boka needs to engage into dialogue. Dialogue should start with his staff, his administration, and the people. Mr. Boka needs to strengthen diplomatic effort by making sure that whatever the opposition is crying for, present those things and then address the internal challenges. There are people hurting in the country. Right now, Liberia is seen as one of the unhappiest countries. People losing their jobs, and we want to talk about peace. That makes no sense, Derek. So Mr. Boka is obligated to look at what Weah has given him and ask himself, everything that Weah has said in relationship to what has happened in the country, do I find any reason that there is no peace in there? Or is it looking like something that has peace in it? If the answer is no, then Mr. Boka needs to begin to address those things in order for us to move forward. When I say that, the question you asked about Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Sirleaf reached out to Weah, the dialogue on issue. Whatever Weah had in mind, it was dialogue. It was dialogue in the presence of the UNMIL, the ECOWAS. So we saw the connection being built among them. But what President Boka has failed to do, and I will come back to Weah, reconciling our country. I see Bishop saying, oh, our generation has been divided. But who have brought us together to say, you know what, Bishop, our generation has been destroyed, but we can get it together. Weah is saying we need to put structure in place. How do we work together? And that one, when Weah say, I have not seen Boka differentiating himself from President Weah. In some instances, he's right, because Mr. Boka has not set the tune for peace. What has happened to CDC, if Mr. Burger had immediately investigated that and hold people accountable, then we will be coming and say, no, President, former President, what Burger is doing now, I think you're just trying to spin the tea in your favor. But look at the reality today. Go in the country and see what is happening. Even the bombing issue, where we have investors being protected by the police and innocent people dying over there. If you go to the family and sit with them and say, do you really see peace here? They look at their loved one who were with them time ago, they are dead and gone. They will tell you, Derek, there's no peace here. All right? So we got to be able to internalize our peace. So Mr. Weah is saying, let us face our problem. When we face our problem, then we can go out there and tell the international community, look at our country, look what we have done. We have 14-year civil war. We stabilized peace. Don't you think we are eligible for this? So what Mr. Weah is saying is we must present ourselves as the representation of peace. We can't go to that place and having internal conflict among ourselves. I think that's the best answer I can give right now.
Thank you. Let's come back to you.
So Derek, what is the time frame? Because I'm still a little bit confused. What is the time frame that we're talking about here? Because if they're saying that it's a good thing to go for this to be a non of the Security Council, is a good thing. President, we have started the process. Now there are internal things that we need to deal with in order to go and sit on that seat. What is the time frame now we're talking about between the people giving us the opportunity and then dealing with the internal thing in order to go and pursue? So I just need to know.
Derek, can I come in quick?
Yes, 30 seconds.
Thank you.
I'll come to you, Mr. Sheriff.
That's a very valid question you asked, and it goes back to President Burger. What is the purpose of President Burger wanted to be president that he is now? What did he identify as very crucial to moving the country forward? I'm sure a political advisor, a policy advisor, a foreign minister may have listed for him what are some of the international agenda he had. If she had informed him that, look, we are looking at the possibility of making headways as the Unity Party's second government now to go on the United Nations Council as a non-permanent member. We're talking about peace. President Burger do not allow anybody to mess the country up right now on your watch. And Mr. Burger will come and say, anyone who behave inappropriately will be this and XYZ. Why? Because they are coming now to attend the UNA. And that UNA is where the process begins. Whatever was left from last year is going to be brought back to the table. And like, bro, we bring those things to the table for discussion. But what has President Burger defined? What is President Burger objective? What are his supporters are saying when it comes to peace? He talk about arrest. What kind of symbolic representation are they showing about the rest? So the timetable is in the hands of President Burger, inability not to clearly define what he wants to show. And to me, that shows the level of incompetency that he continues to exhibit as things goes by, because the ball is in his court now. He took the over on the Constitution.
Thank you. I have a question for you, Mr. Sheriff, but Mr. Weah has the rebuttal. Let me get his rebuttal, and I will come to you if you don't mind.
No, specifically, it's not a question or rebuttal.
Go ahead.
What? Because we are talking about the things. Randy, you're right. It's like Boacar now. The boy is in Boacar code, but my whole thing about the whole thing we're discussing is that only Liberian can solve this problem, because we had when we had a lady president of the UN from Liberia. In reality, like that's why I said from the beginning that even if you were to make a Liberian the Secretary General of the UN, if we don't have a functional structure in our own country, we cannot do anything. The title alone is not enough, because I know in Liberia we are interested in titles rather than focusing on functionality. How do we, whatever position, how does it impact somebody? Like for instance, we got people sleeping in graveyard in Liberia. This position we're talking about will not solve the problem. The government in Liberia can say, okay, we got a number of people sleeping in the graveyard, we can do this. But this is what the government has. Can anybody help? This is what we need. That's what I'm talking about. It's being specific. It's not just saying corruption or this. We got to try to identify a problem And what does it require to solve it if you give it a timeline? We can't keep doing the same thing over and over and keep blaming one another. The boy is in boy Kai's court right now. Why it is true that he reached out to WIA, but what is the government doing? What is a failure? What effort has he made? That's the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai Winkin. Let me come back to you, Mr. Sheriff. And I know I asked the same question to Mr. Randy, and I'll just transition now over to you because what I'm trying to understand here is that President Weah is not, as some will argue, being petty, and like Mr. Randy Portis, he's seeking the combination of both the party interest and that of the country's interest or the country's image. Now, my question to you: don't you think that the fact that he put issues that have been going on with the administration and the party, don't you think that undermines his overall point? If what Mr. Rennie is saying is facts, that he's actually interested in the country image internally and globally, don't you think that the fact that he pushed the party line there undermines his internal, like his overall message, Mr. Sheriff?
Yeah, thank you. Am I loud and clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I don't think he's been petty, and I think that is the best thing that he's doing. The best thing, because you cannot present yourself as a saint when you know you have problems. Quite recently, we saw ECOWAS delegation in Liberia. Why were they there? He wrote a communication complaining of some, missteps from the government and some harassment. So are we saying that he must ignore what is happening internally only because maybe we want that particular seat? So therefore, he must ignore what is happening internally? I think in his communication, what he is doing is that he is sending out, maybe somebody would say, a friendly, warning to the government that look, like you saw in the communication, he is not trying to, refuse us being in that particular position. In fact, he categorically stated that he supports whatever effort that will carry Liberia to that particular level. When you read the communication, he talks about Liberia's own involvement, with the United Nations and how we have significantly, contributed. So he is one person who have pushed it that we should reach to this far. But what he is doing that is very important is he don't want to be a hypocrite. It almost like, take for an example, you know that you have a wound and you decide to just put a bandage over the wound and allow yourself to endure the pain only for you to please someone else. So what he is doing is that he's been sincere to the Liberian people. He's been sincere to the government and been sincere to the world. I believe his communication right now, this government should even commend President Weah for being very sincere, for outlining the issues that all of us think that if this issue persists, it will give us a bad signal, both nationally and internationally. Because remember, you are not only representing yourself on that particular council, you will be making the case for Africa. You'll be making the case for other nations. So how do you go to make the case for other nations when in your own backyard, you are a dictator there? You're killing your own people. They don't have the right to express themselves. So it is important that while it is true that we want this particular seat, but there are things internally that we need to do. We need to caution ourselves. We need to ensure that we put in place those mechanisms that at least will be favorable, that when we stand to speak, we will not be questioned by other African, countries around us. And like Randy Ratley said, that is it. You're sending out, a caveat. In other words, if I will put it in my own language, you're sending out a caveat to the government that, look, we want this. It is good for us to have it. But then start to behave in a responsible manner. Not only for this position, but for the peace of Liberia. Not only for this position, but for the peace of Africa. Not only for this position, but for the peace of, the ECOWAS region. Because if Liberia is unstable, Sierra Leone is unstable, directly or indirectly. Ghana is unstable. Ivory Coast is unstable, and etc. So what he's doing is just sending out a friendly caveat to the government that look, we want this, but do this. Try to avoid this, because by so doing, you will even limit your chances internationally of getting on some other, international, well-recognized, platforms. You will be limited, because on some of these platforms, they look at your own rating internally, your political rating. They look at your own, freedom, maybe people freedom of expression, political assembly, and etc. etc. So if you are doing everything to subdue people of not, participating or having our freedom to participate and express their political rights as enshrined in the Constitution, some of these areas you will be denied.
Thank
You
you.
may not have the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Sherry. Let's hear from you, finally, Bishop Reeves, and then we'll take our last break. Come back, we will give you guys the opportunity to give a closing remark. Bishop Reeves.
Okay, so now I've had the opportunity to listen to everybody and listen to the views, and initially I didn't have a stronghold on what we were discussing in terms of the letter and all of that. But I also went and did some research while we were discussing. Now, it means that my point and my appeal that I made has a significant part to play in even what we're talking about now. All right. If you look at Liberia, Liberia is one of the members of founding members of the United Nations. Okay. And Liberia headed this particular council you're talking about for 2 decades. Go online and the information is there, because Angie Brooke Randolph was the one who was in charge of that. Okay. And she headed that position for 2 decades. Now, Angie Brooke Randolph was also one of those who was responsible for Israel getting being a nation today, because the vote was tied and she broke that thing. So Israel is now a nation today. So that means Liberia has played some important role when it comes to the world stage. Okay, when you guys were discussing, then I told you, I said we started going down from 1980, and somebody was saying, oh, don't go way behind. But here's the thing though. I looked up and I saw what is the benefit of being and Mr. Randy tried to answer that question. But I said, what is the benefit of being a non-permanent member? Number one, there are 8 benefits. Number one, you will have a voice in global affairs. Number two, you will increase your diplomatic engagement. Number three, you will have influence on regional issues. Number four, you will your contribution to global peace and security. Number five, experience in international governance. Number six, promotion of national interest. Number seven, visibility and recognition. Number eight, capacity building. Now they have different pieces to all of that. In summary, while non-permanent members may have limited influence compared to permanent members, their participation in the UNSC can still be meaningful and beneficial for their countries. Now, when I look at all of what is going to happen, it will just bring me back to what I said. Right now, let's forget about this and focus on putting our country on the right footing, from the place of education to the place of good governance and the place of development, before we start reaching out now to go back to these places. And me, I don't think it will be difficult to get this seat. Okay. But if you look at the benefit, what kind of influence you want to have in regional issues when you have not even being able to put yourself back together to help the country? And this is what I said from the beginning, from 1980 up to where we are. We have not put ourselves together. I think Liberia need to focus on putting herself together so that it can be beneficial for us now if we decide to launch out on the international stage. This is my take on this whole thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Reeves, and to all of you panelists for your contribution on this discussion and the one before. We will take our last break, and when we come back, we will give you guys the opportunity to closing statement on this podcast tonight, and then right after we will draw the curtain to this episode. For now, let's take a break. We'll see you guys after the break.
Hi, my name is Martha Tomley, owner of Matisia Natural Hair Salon, located on 4405 Chestnut Street. We are specializing in locks, natural hair, braids, and etc. Call us for all your natural hair needs. You can reach out at 267-703-2330. If you have pictures or videos you want to send us, you can send it to 267-224-0693.
Attention all. Attention all.
I can see all the good God do for me, oh. Papa, your blessing to plant me and I get
Celebration, celebration, celebration. I mean celebration. Here come the biggest news you have been waiting for. The Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas, ULAA, is pleased to announce her 50th anniversary and inauguration. Our guest speaker is Honorable J. Fonanti Kofa, Speaker of the House of Representatives, 55th Legislature, Republic of Liberia, hosted by the National Administration, ULA, National Executive President of ULA, Mohammed MSG1 Keita, National Vice President, Emmanuel Nangwe, Chairman of the Board, Honorable Dao Kamara, First Vice President of the Board, Honorable James Barkley, members of the Eminent Council of Yola, member of the founding father of Yola, Dr. Sion Kwon J.K. Nyanswao Sr. Our chief launchers are Dr. Thomas Tue and Honorable Alfred Sier, chief launcher of ULAA. Yola, this all-important celebration will be held in Atlantic City, New Jersey. This event takes place from September 27 to September 29. Take note, September 27 to September 29, 2024. Tickets are on sale. Patron tickets, $200 USD, and regular tickets, $130 USD. Ways out in getting your tickets. Get your tickets on Cash App at 781-248-1836. Listing 781-248-1836. Or on Zilly, OURULAA at ULAALIBORG, or in small letters, OURULAA at ULAALIB.org. You can also get your tickets online at ULAA50.eventbrite.com. ULAA50eventbrite.com. Come one, come all. Come and join us to celebrate with Liberians in the diaspora. Rush now, because space is limited. I see you there.
Yes, that's the Union of Liberia Association in the Americas 50th anniversary and inauguration, scheduled for the weekend of the 27th of September of this year in Atlantic City. So you have the information. You start getting prepared to be there if you can. Again, guys, thank you so much for your contribution to here tonight and on all of the episodes you have appeared on. And to those of you watching us, we appreciate your support. We hope that you enjoy the conversation here tonight. We have very few minutes to be here, but before we get to draw the curtain to this episode, we'll come back to the panelists to give you their final and closing remark or statement on this podcast. I started with you, Mr. Sherry, so I would like to end with you, and I would like to start this closing statement with you, Mr. Ja Winkin Wia, and then after I'll take Bishop Reeves, Mr. Randy, and then Mr. Sherry. So let's start with you, Mr. Ja Winkin Wia.
Okay, thank you, Derek and fellow panelists. For those of us who are in America, the decision we make in America impacts the life of everybody, whether you are a citizen of America or just an observer. So we should be careful in this election. We should not be blindfolded. For example, if President Trump was a good president, his vice president and more than 40 cabinet ministers, including security advisor, wouldn't have told you that it's a danger to the country of America. So I urge you to vote wisely. You will not be good. There is vice president, all those that serve with him, telling you, advising you that you should not vote for him because it's a danger to the country. Liberia. For those of us in Liberia, God will not come from heaven to fix that country. No matter how many resources people give us, handout, we are the oldest country in Africa. And the purpose for that formation was to serve as an example. But we are behind. We need to think outside the box. We need to think that we can do for ourselves before anybody can help us. So I will encourage all Liberians, we need to debate our government to put in place a system that will help everybody, that will give everybody the opportunity to make life for themselves. We don't need handout. Government, it is your responsibility to make sure that people survive in your country. So you cannot do the same thing over and over and expect a new change. Bwaka, you were respected, you were elected because people felt that you were old enough, you served in government for a long time, so you were going to make a difference. But I personally haven't seen that difference. The same thing is going on over and over. We need a change in our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin Wia. Now let's hear from you, Bishop Reeves. Give us a closing statement.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you guys for being on this show, and we can always express ourselves. And I want to thank you. Talking about what is going on right now in the United States of America, I would first of all like to say to all of you that I'd rather have someone who would tell me that I will slap you and I know they will slap me than someone who would tell me I look very handsome, but they have a knife at the back of my neck to cut me. Kamala is untested. Kamala Harris has lied on almost all of the things that the positions that she's had. She lied her way through to become how you call for the for California. She put a lot of black people in jail, and she is Indian, Caucasian, but she telling the people now because she wants to run for president, she will say anything to win a position. Because she wants to run, she says she's black, and we know she's not black. She don't lie to us and tell us she's from Jamaica and she's black. She's not black. Her father is not from Jamaica. He doesn't have anything in him. So that's another lie. She will lie to say anything to take us back. Trump was with us and for 4 years. I benefited from it. A lot of people benefited. At least I know what kind of risk I'm taking. The international community was afraid of Trump because they know that he's the man who will do what he say. So we didn't have any war. There was no war. Kim Jong-un, all of them, China, all of them, he kept them at bay. Look at Iran. Iran was broke. He made sure he kept Iran broke so that they couldn't do anything. Today, Iran is powerful. They got nuclear weapons. They can threaten Israel. He stood up and said the embassy for Israel is not going to be in Tel Aviv, it's going to be in Jerusalem. Guess what? Every American president was talking about that, but Donald Trump was the only one that was able to make it happen. And today, the embassy is in Jerusalem. So Donald Trump said some things and he did it. But the news media have decided that they are going to make him look the way they want him to look. But nobody is talking about Kamala. They're not talking about her. Even John Wicken, he's not, they have nothing to say about Kamala Harris that she has done. They can't say nothing about Kamala, no benefit, nothing Kamala has done. They can't say, but she have just put a lot of black people in jail. But the black community is now waking up. I can tell all of you that for a fact. They are waking up and they are coming at the end of this. Now, one last thing I want to say before I close. I want you to know that that same Kamala they use to go to Africa to tell all of you to accept LGBTQ, and y'all refuse. By the time she become president, all of y'all who left begging for money and y'all looking for money, she will not give it to y'all until y'all follow what she want y'all to do. She want y'all to accept this LGBTQ thing. They are teaching the children in kindergarten. They have changed the books, and all of y'all sitting there and y'all know it, but y'all still want to vote for Kamala, who is very unsafe and she's not tested. Now, to Liberia, I will continue to appeal to the Liberians in the diaspora so that we can look at Liberia's situation from a very serious perspective. I want us to look at it from the private perspective. Let's see how much investment we can make. Let's see how we can help the government, whether it's the WEA government, is the Boyka government, is whatever government is in power. I know politics is dirty and is nasty, but if we continue just hitting at each other, Liberia has a very peculiar problem. We cannot compare Liberia to Rwanda. We can't compare it to any other country. Our issue is peculiar. So I really want us to please look at Liberia and see how we can invest, how we can have a build consensus, build a network that will be able to help develop Liberia. Thank you all for the time.
Thank you, Bishop Reeves, as always, for your contribution here on the Hard Zone. So now let's transition over to you, Mr. Randy. Give us your closing statement on this podcast.
Well, I would just like to piggyback on Bishop when he said we should not compare ourselves to one in what capacity. These people were nowhere back in the 70s, in the 80s. Today, these people are better than us, even though we started the same thing. I tend to disagree with you on that, but I hope that next time we'll debate that issue next time. But anyway, I know I didn't talk about the American politics, but now we are about to close. Let me just say my thing here, right? American politics, as it relates to the race part of it, is all about fear. It's all about fear. And here, how the mind game work along with fear. They will say to you and I, well, Kamala Harris might not have the experience, but Donald Trump will be worse. The next thing you know, black people jumping out the house are going to stay on the line to support Democrats. But in the end, Democrats cannot benefit you anything. So it's all about fear. It's all about fear. That's why it is. It's all about fear. So until we get to understand what we really want, you see, the Indian communities, the Chinese community, they vote on consensus. What am I getting out of the election? If you want me to vote for as a community, we should vote for you. What do we want out of this? When Biden came to office, the first thing he did, he passed that protective order for the Asian. But what happened to all the people who saved in North Carolina? When you were almost about to lose, he went to North Carolina, Bacardi Seller, and all the guys went there to save him. But the strategy here is all about creating fear. So it's up to the American people, and about what needs to be said. But they were quick to run on the road once they say Kamala Harris may not have the experience. She did this, but look at Donald Trump. And and then the next thing fear grabbed them to run away to vote for them. So there are a lot of things I would like to say here, but again, I can't say, but we look forward to a successful campaign in the United States and successful election. But one thing I would say, Biden made a promise that he could not deliver on. I'm a big fan of student loan. If you forget my student loan, that's my issue. He lied to us. We got the letters in the mail, and I made that adjustment. We will apply for that letter, for that opportunity. It came to us. The next thing we know, they say, oh, the Congress, the Supreme Court. Well, Biden, you should ask yourself all these questions. What is the risk of me promising these people? What could be the hurdles of me
It's
promising
11
these people?
o'clock.
It was never done. All right. Now, let me address the issue of the United Nations non-member state. When Angie Bro took that seat, and up to today, it's still rotational. So since Angie Bro, when Labro was in there, it was a 2-year rotation. Labro got kicked out. If Labro coming back again, this time around, we are saying, on Tottenham rule, Tottenham have a very strong grip on power. So the people are not looking at that because he was a strong ally to the United States. Today, the world is different now. All right? The world is different. All right? So the idea of us wanting to just be on the seat, and is different, and because we want to have people who understand what our challenges are. In order for us to move forward, we have to have peace. We were at war, and Mr. We have managed to bring peace in the country, right? He managed to bring peace in the country, and based on Mr. We experience of bringing peace in the country, Mr. We today started and initiated the seat again. But then Mr. Weir is coming back and saying, if we do want to get a seat again, we need to make sure that we create a peaceful environment in our country. And the way to do that, we have to look up to the leader who is president today and be able to harmonize our condition, our situation in our country in order for us to move forward. And that means Mr. Weir is right, because the perception of good governance is ever stabilizing the country. The international reputation of our country cannot move forward if we have domestic instability in the country. So what Mr. Boga needs to do? Mr. Boga needs to promote good governance. Mr. Boga needs to protect political freedom. Mr. Boga needs to engage in dialogue. I understand there are some Boga supporters here. They don't like J. Randy. But I tell you what, 26 years out of Liberia, I'm not afraid to tell any politician anything. Boga went to the hospital. He never presented his medical documents to tell what's wrong with him. That alone, it showed that Boga is very incapacitated. Boga came to power up to today. He has not defined what the arrest is all about. He has not been able to develop a national agenda to drive improvement, to deliver his own message. Boga has started to give out buses that will return. Boga came with yellow machine that is now in a serious tobacco. Boga went to series of investment workshop. Nothing has come out of it. So that tells me that Boga only came to power based on his age, and we must face separate Boga age. Age is just a number that tells you how long this person been on earth. But as far as putting knowledge together, Boga is one of the incompetent leaders that I have ever seen, Derek. And there's nothing that's going to convince me that Boga will succeed in this role here. Boga was born to fail, and failure should Boga be. Now, lastly, all the positions that Boga served since Todman time, when last have Boga stood among anybody to tell you what success that Boga brought? LPMC, it dies on a Boga. LPRC almost got killed. Soil rescue him. The Star Radio Bowl, Boga on a bowl, it got destroyed. Boga served as YNCA chairperson, it got destroyed. Boga was on a door as agriculture minister, the Agricultural Development Bank, and all other subsidiary institutions got killed. Boga served with Ellen for 12 years. He was responsible for the group of 77 and other institutions. Nothing Boga did. This man was never elected. This man got elected because of the seditious frustration, and there's nothing Boga is doing. So President Weir, the condition he has put forward, it challenged Joe Boga's ability to reconcile the country. Is he going to do that? The ball now is in his court. I rest my case on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Randy, for your contribution here tonight. Finally, lastly elected Mr. Sherry for his closing statement.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again for giving me the opportunity to always be on here. And let me say thanks to the panelists for such a wonderful discussion. I think where we are as a nation and as a people, we are retrogressing instead of progressing. Under the reign of President George Weah, everything went out rosy. But I believe that we made significant progress as a people. But right now, based on what we are seeing, we are afraid that if things continue like this, within the next 2 years, Liberia will be declared as one of the most, maybe one would say, I won't try to sugarcoat the word, but Liberia will be one of the most violent nations you can find in Africa with the way things are going. There is this particular mass dismissal of our people, knowing very well that things are the way they are. There's no job, but with the late job that our people have, government is dismissing these people and bringing in other people. And what is happening now is scaring because the Unity Party have adopted a system where if you are a sedition, you are deemed as someone who is a threat to the system, and they do everything to ostracize you and bring in their people on board. And these things are concerning because it's even happening in the security sector. Few days ago, we listened to the spokesperson of the Liberia Immigration Service who said they are going to be putting down 200 persons from LRS, and they will be bringing in about 200 additional people. And most of these people that will be bringing in are people who participated in the electoral violence in Lofa County, where we saw a group calling themselves 800 militant for Joseph Nyuma Boeka. Today, they are infusing them in the security sector. It is scary. Today, the rights of people are no longer respected, political rights. When President Weah served as president, people could have a critical view and still work in the government. We can call the names of people who said things to President Weah, but yet they were still in the government. Like, for example, Madam Cecilia Coffee Brown. It is a woman who is on record of saying that President Weah, even your foe is better than even your head. But yet, President Weah said it is about Liberia. It doesn't matter what you say about me. In as much as we all can work to put Liberia up there on the map, let us do it. And he included people. We also there are other peoples that names we can call. Look, for example, the agriculture minister, Madam Cooper. This was a lady who said some things, but at the end of the day, President Weah said, look, let's work in the interest of our country. But today, what are we seeing? President Weah took over, Mr. Boyka took over. What is he doing? He went to people who have tenure position, those positions that should be there in order to provide some check and balance. Remove these people. When the Supreme Court gave their own opinion relative to, that he was proceeding in an unorthodox manner, what did he do? He gave the Supreme Court the middle finger and said, these people are suspended. As far as I'm concerned, let the people go to work. Everything is happening bad under this particular regime. Are we excited of it? No. We have our family, we have friends that are in Liberia, we have businesses and etc. We are not excited. And this is the reason why when we come here, we have to speak truth to power. And I'm grateful that today, my own father, a big brother, a father, one of our bring on this particular, platform is calling out the government. That is, Mr. Wee. I want to thank you. I'm surprised the way you speaking strong, against coming up in this kind of strong way and issuing such a strong statement. I think that's what we should do because Liberia is for all of us. When we go out there, the people don't ask whether somebody is a sedition or unity party. They will say Liberian. So again, I want to say thanks to everybody. Let us continue. Let us put fire to the feet of this government for the right thing to be done. And let us also encourage Liberian. This is not the view of this platform. This is my view. To turn up on the 25th, in New York, so that we protest against this government, against all of the bad governance that is happening in this government, so that we can checkmate the government. But again, thank you so very kindly for giving me the opportunity. We'll always be here to, have our one or two. Thank you, and thanks to distinguished panelists who is always interesting to learn from these people because they come with wealth of experience. And when you sit on the platform with these people, it's just so wonderful. You learn a lot, yeah, with all of the back and forth, but you learn a lot. So thanks to the Reverend, and I want to say welcome back. After enjoying everything, I hope you bring monkey me here because your own metron coming run behind you, see you get monkey me they play.
You better leave me alone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff. And to
Yes,
those
sir.
of you watching us, thank you. Thank you for the support. We would like to say we will be back here next Thursday. Hopefully to see you here again. But this is it for episode 10 of season 6 of the Hard Zone. We will see you guys next week for another episode 11, same network, same time. So we'll see you. Until then, let me wish all of you a pleasant good night.
Say that I love you for you. Don't play me, I can't anybody for you. I mess up my heart to show you. Cause the things you do, that's